Maybe I'm kind of glad that we
No,
weren't
that kind of
streaming at that point.
It's not we lost the stream, the province dropped our internet.
It does drive me kind of crazy that they have all this stuff out there about how they want rural municipalities to be a partner and get them back in power. And yet they're treating us like absolute junior whatever. And we're just lucky we get our allowance once a year, sort of thing. Just drives me nuts.
And I would agree. Okay, Councillor McGee, you had something. Sorry.
No.
Councillor Penner.
Thank you. I just wanted to, commend you and state openly and publicly that I think you're advocating for our needs as a county and as a rural area has been very commendable, as has everybody else on this council. I think we're not quiet here, and we want people to know that we are working hard to try to keep a voice for you, but we also need your support and voice in your own stuff yourselves, and I encourage you to do that. In addition to that, I've had various little tidbit of details of questioning our efficiencies in each program that is more like under the gossip line as far as I'm concerned, no specifics coming directly to me. And I want to encourage our residents that we have fabulous staff who are ready to inform you on any questions you have. I also want to say I personally have seen, since I first been elected here, extreme amount of efficiencies have occurred in the last 5 years. And this is not taken lightly by anyone here in this room, nor under our staff. And please, don't be getting worked up about a detail without first being informed about whether that detail exists here, because there's been a few that are clearly offline, and I just really encourage everybody to be part of the solution of us making your money work for you, because that's what we want to do, and that's what our staff wants to do.
Councillor Penner.
So just back to the tax holiday until 2025, we don't know going forward. It's not, they say it's not going to carry forward. And so right now we don't know that. So it's a couple of years. So that's why the revenue stabilization is there. And I think it's valuable that we use it because these are the reasons why it is there. This doesn't look like it's a long-term a holiday that's going to happen. So I'm all in favor in using some of the revenue stabilization funds that we have in reserves.
Deputy Reeve King.
So are we at a point where we can continue forward a profitable discussion at this point, or do we need additional information to try to address the shortfall that we still are sitting on?
Go ahead, Mr. Hogan.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think one of the things that's open to council is if you wanted to table this to later in the meeting, we could see what information we can put together, which may aid your discussion. The other portion of that is if we table it until later in the meeting, there might be some discussion that council wants, like a lot of the discussion I envision in open session, but there might be a couple of items if you want to get into some more specifics, they might be better served in closed session. So those are ones that that would allow us to do both of those, I think, in a better manner if council was amenable to that.
Councillor Cunningham.
Just further to what Councillor McGee was saying, I know we've talked about this a little bit, but I think it would be relevant for me. Some questions have come to me in regards to wages, and I know we spoke about that our wages in the past 2 years have gone up about $900,000. So I think just to maybe put a little explanation out there to our ratepayers, like that we're talking about keeping ourselves in the 50th percentile percentile. We've got some extra positions coming, so just maybe more of an explanation, so it's right there. So like Councillor McGee spoke to, it's not people just wondering or thinking or making up their own ideas. It's exactly put forward for them. Does that make sense?
Okay, so I guess we've come to kind of a little bit of a standstill here until we get some further information. So would someone like to table this item until later in the meeting? Deputy Reeve King?
So I would make that motion that we table our budget discussion until later in this meeting. And that would allow administration to come back with more information that will assist us in making our decisions.
Okay, thank you. We have a tabling motion. There is no discussion on a tabling motion, so I will call the question. All those in favor? And we are unanimous, so we will table this until later in the meeting. Well, I guess you've got a mission there, Ms. Von Burbach. Okay, so our next agenda item will be 7.1 Kneehill 4-H District Request. Mr. Hogan? Oh. Ms. Vanderkool.
I'll take this item.
Okay,
So today I have presented to you, Council, the Kneehill 4-H District request. The recommended motion is that Council approve sponsorship in the amount of $1,000 to the Kneehill 4-H District to assist with costs associated with advertising for their Achievement Day. The background on this agenda item is that administration received a letter from the Kneehill 4-H District requesting financial support to go towards the costs associated with advertising for their Achievement Day. This is a request that Council receives annually. In the past, we have donated $800 to this event, and this year the organization is requesting a donation of $1,000. The 4-H District request meets the eligibility requirements for the Recreation, Community Arts, and Cultural Grant. And our financial and staffing implications is that $10,000 is budgeted annually to the Recreation, Community Arts, and Cultural Grant Program. There is $3,700 still available to be spent in 2023 in this account. Your options today are to approve a sponsorship in the amount of $1,000 or amend that amount, or to receive this request for information.
okay, does council have any questions for Ms. Vanderkool? Deputy Reeve King?
So I don't have a question, but I am more than willing to make the motion that we approve the amount of 1,000 to the 4-H Kneehill 4-H District to assist with the costs associated with advertising for their Achievement Day.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion before us to approve a sponsorship amount of $1,000 to the Kneehill 4-H District. Is there any discussion to that motion? Go ahead, Councillor McGee.
I was accused of being an over-encourager this week, so sorry, here I am being an over-encourager, saying, well done. I like seeing that we are participating in supporting 60 youth through this project. That's really meeting one of the things we talked about in our strategic planning is how to participate, have our youth being part of what we're doing, and this is one example where we're getting a significant number. So I am going to be in support of this motion.
Councillor Penner.
I'm fully in support of supporting 4-H. I just would like some clarification, like I agree to giving it to them, that I see Achievement Day is being held in Olds, and I have heard through the grapevine a possible reason why it is being held there again, but I'd like to get some clarification from the Kneehill District why Achievement Day is not within Kneehill County. Please, and thank you.
Yes, I can contact them and get that information for you.
there any other discussion to the motion?
Grieve, I have a comment,
Go ahead.
with regard to, just in response to Councillor Penner's question, and I think it won't hurt us to follow up through administration to just make sure. But I understand that they lost access to their previous venue in Trochu, and that they committed to a contract in Olds for a certain number of years. And so the alternative destination after losing the Trochu Arena venue was to move to Olds. And I think they had to commit for a period of time there. So, and I'm also not sure that the venue in Trochu would be available to them at this point in time either. There's still some possible other commitment that they've made there. So that's my understanding, and I certainly am ready to be corrected on that. So I would say I have no problem seeking further additional information.
All righty. Is there any other discussion to the motion? If not, I shall call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. All righty, thank you very much. Our next agenda item, 7.2, repeal of obsolete bylaws.
Hello, I'm back.
Hello, you're back. Mr. Zier, do you notice that graders only cost $9,000?
Yeah.
It might be wore out by now, but it was cheap.
Yeah. So good morning, council again. Administration continues the process of reviewing the bylaws and cleaning up the old bylaws that are obsolete and outdated. When this process is completed, we will have only relevant active bylaws in place. The only way to repeal and amend a bylaw is through another bylaw. So in front of you is a bylaw to rescind around 50 bylaws. I'm not going to go through every single bylaw, but this meeting's theme is the purchase of capital assets. Before 1968, the Municipal Government Act, Section 219, required municipalities to create a bylaw for each machinery purchase for public works. So attached are the 50 bylaws, and so council, the recommended motions are attached on the RFD.
Okay, thank you very much. Does council have any questions for Ms. Vanderkool? Somebody want to start the process then? Councillor Forbes.
That council give first reading to bylaw 1873, that being a bylaw to repeal obsolete, redundant, and outdated bylaws.
Thank you. We have first reading for bylaw 1873. Is there any discussion to that motion? All those in favor? And carried unanimously. Councillor Penner.
I'll make the motion that council provide second reading to bylaw 1873.
Thank you. We have a motion for second reading, bylaw 1873. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Councillor Cunningham.
I move that council provide unanimous consent for third and final reading to bylaw 1873.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a motion for consent to hold third. All those in favor? And that is unanimous. May the record reflect. One more. Councillor McGee.
The council provide third reading to bylaw 1873.
Okay, we now have motion for third and final reading for bylaw 1873. Is there any discussion to that motion? This is your last opportunity. No, don't see any. All those in favor? And carried unanimously. Thank you very much. I'm gonna miss this if it ever starts going away. Okay, I won't miss it then. Let's not get, but it was interesting to see what equipment was worth back in the day.
I also found it interesting to see how they really shopped around, even within the same year and things like that, to different businesses and the businesses that were in business back then. that aren't now. You know, I found it very interesting.
Okay, our next agenda item, 7.3, Royal Canadian Legion. And I guess that's up to you again,
I guess
Ms.
it's up to me.
Vanderkool.
Sure. So today I bring you the Royal Canadian Legion Military Service Book, Service Recognition Book. Administration received a request from the Alberta Northwest Territory Command of the Royal Canadian Legion for Kneehill County to support them by purchasing an advertisement support message in their annual military service recognition book. Council has provided support every year since 2008 through the purchase of a business card size advertisement support message. Kneehill County paid $315 last year for one by 10 page business card advertisement. This year it is still $315. And every year this application meets the requirements of the Recreation Community Arts and Cultural Event Grant Program. $10,000 gets budgeted for that grant program every year, and to date there's $4,000 available in that fund.
Are there any questions for Ms. Vanderkool from council members? Councillor Petter.
Question to do with the, we received a copy of the book from the organization. What do we do with the books, the older books, you know, from the previous years?
We have all the books in our library, our shelf. That's from, well, since 2008, we have every single of those books in our library.
And I bring this up, I was just wondering if we require to keep all of those copies, I know there's different information within them, or if we should be reaching out to our local senior citizens where they go for coffee, things like that, or to the schools that are heading on their school trips, and some of them do go to the memorial site, the McGinney Ridges and whatnot else, and maybe they can use it as literature to teach the kids, because I'm not sure if everybody knows within this book, it has local members that went off to war and it's a different scenario, and they have their little stories, and also every year they have a competition for poems and drawings and whatnot else, and in this book, and this year, there was an individual from Trochu in grade 1, 2, or 3 that got 3rd place, I believe it was. So I just wondered if we should be, or like offering them to the schools or to the little community libraries, a little, to put them in there, or do we need to keep them?
Well, the first discussion would be which school would you bring them to? Because we have like 5 schools in Kneehill County, so that would be you need one place to decide, and that would be council decision to decide where to put them. Or maybe the museum would be another option to send them to the Kneehill Museum.
And for sure, I don't mean to put them in one school. We could offer them as a resource, that's something that they could share and or let them know that there's a set of them at the museum, the Israel Museum, or there's a set of them in our basement here if the schools want to use them. I just thought there's some valuable information if you go and look through them, some really great stories, and you know, some poems might like to be read at different services and things like that. So I'm just putting it out there because I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware what actually is in this book.
Yes, Mr. Gannon.
Through the chair, we potentially have an opportunity through our peace officers who engage within school programs to reach out to those organizations to say that we do have these resources. And if they require them, that we're more than willing to share them.
So you're going to throw the book at them?
It could be said that way, but it may be interpreted a different way there, Reeve.
Okay. I'm sorry I brought it up that way. Okay, so what is council's wish? Councillor Phopes, sorry.
I would make the motion to provide support to the annual Alberta Northwest Territory Royal Canadian Legion Military Service Recognition Book with the purchase of a business card size advertisement at the cost of $315 with the funds to come from the 2023 operating budget.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a motion to support the Alberta Northwest Territory Royal Canadian Legion with an ad in their book. Is there any discussion to that motion? Councillor Penner.
I just want to make our ratepayers aware that as an individual, and if this is dearest to your heart and you would like to support this organization, you can do that yourself through donations. Not necessarily the $300, but you just reach out to them. We've done it for many years, that you can make a donation to this organization.
Okay, is there any other discussion to the motion? If not, call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Okay, next agenda item will be disposition of delegate and public hearing business. 8.1, RCMP report. Who wants to take this one? Nobody? There you go.
Hey, for this item here, this is really just acknowledging that you received the RCMP's delegation from earlier. You've already dealt with some of the items coming from that, like acceptance of the reports as well as confirmation of the policing priorities. So really, it's just a straightforward, yeah, they were here today.
Okay. Councillor Cunningham.
I move that council accept the RCMP presentation for information as presented.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a motion to receive for information as presented. Is there any discussion to that? I don't see any. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Okay. Our next delegate, disposition of delegate business, 8.2, Community Futures Wildrose. Mr. Hogan?
So through you, Mr. Chair, this item before you, you've got a decision to make. You've seen the presentation from Community Futures. It's really down to whether you want to take part or not. So the request that came forward was for $5,000 and then an additional $5,000 in-kind contributions. If council chooses to take part in this, we can fund this through the operating budget, so you wouldn't need to add to the discussion you just had. There is economic development room. This could be done within that span. The in-kind contribution is already accounted for as well, maybe not specifically to this program, but as council's aware, there are honorariums, salaries and mileage and things like that that are already budgeted for as a course of normal operations. So that again would not represent an addition to what you're dealing with in the budget discussions. So really what it comes down to is this could be facilitated from that perspective. It's a question of whether or not council wishes to take part. From admin's perspective, we're recommending that the county take part in this. When we look at the strategic plan and the economic development goals, understanding the labor market and the strengths and weaknesses of that market, whether we're trying to attract external businesses or whether we're trying to grow internal ones, labor is a common element for all of them.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Hogan from the council? Councillor Cunningham.
My hope is when this is all done that they come up with some very concrete solutions, because I know it is a challenge out there with staffing right now. But question I just had, I noticed that administration is recommending that a staff member does this. I'm just wondering with our current staff challenges and with not having an economic development officer at this time, if we feel we have the staff to accommodate that.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we believe that we do. Ideally, if the active position was filled, we would place that person there, but we do have other, some of the functions of that department have been spread out to other staff members, and we would have one of them take part.
Councillor McGee.
I'm excited about this project, and therefore I'd like to make the motion that council contribute $5,000 to the Community Futures Wildrose to be used for the Regional Workforce Development Project, to be funded through the operating budget and provide a letter of support for the program. Furthermore, an in-kind contribution of $5,000 will be provided to go towards the meeting expenses incurred by the Kneehill County's representative to project committee, who will be appointed by the CAO.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a motion before us to approve a financial contribution of $5,000 to Community Futures Wildrose, and also in-kind contribution of $5,000. Is there any discussion to that motion? Councillor Cunningham.
Just a question that I hadn't, just a remind, do we have the amount that we contribute to Community Futures on a yearly basis?
So through the chair, for Community Futures, there is no yearly, there's no yearly membership or anything like that. It really is on a project basis. We do have, as you're aware, we do have a counselor that sits on that board as well. So there's associated costs to any committee that you guys are on.
Is there any other discussion to the motion? Deputy Reeve King.
Just a comment more than discussion. I know Councillor Christie, who sits on this committee on our behalf, was quite positive about this particular project. And based on the presentation that Wendy made for us earlier today, certainly there's benefits to be had for us as a municipality. And so I guess I'm just weighing in to say I'm very supportive of this initiative. And I think if Councillor Christie was here, he would be much more vocal about it than I am.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion to the motion that is on screen? Okay, if not, I will call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Great to see something come of this. Okay. Take it no one's seen lunch go by? All righty. We're going to continue the meeting with council and committee reports. 9.1, I was going to do a bit of a verbal on AQUA 7 meeting that we had last Thursday in AQUA. We approved a new connections policy. Basically, it states that the only ones that can connect to AQUA 7 are actually the municipal partners that are there now. So as far as a new connection, it's probably limited to the rural 2 members, but there was a comment made that maybe AQUA is going to set up another reservoir. And it's just that we're responsible for the connection and all the infrastructure to provide that for the connection. We also came up, we approved our reserves policy. We do have a reserve started. It is invested in the high income savings account, so we are realizing some income there. What we've done is we've decided to possibly, we've decided to start a revenue stabilization reserve, but that is going to be capped. It'll never get over 250,000, and my guess is it'll take a while to get there. And we've established the threshold values for what is capital and what is, or what can be drawn out of the reserves and what is operational. There was was at that point in time last Thursday, I do believe that was the day they had the fire up in Linden. We had some issues with our, Drumheller had issues with a water line breakage of some sort down in the valley, so we had shut off our water supply to Kirkpatrick, but it did not seem to affect any of the firefighting capacity or capabilities in Linden. And we are back up and running again. It's a short meeting, but everything is running well, so that's usually what happens when everything is running well. You don't spend much time talking about stuff that's not working. Is there anything you would like to add, Mr. Manager of AQUA 7?
No, I think that, through Mr. Chair, I think that about covers it.
Thought I'd give you the opportunity. Are there any questions? Good. 9.2, Cape. Councillor McGee.
Thank you. Just a couple short things. I just wanted to update that we, as a CAPE group, had a board planning session all day February 15th. It was very valuable. We had a board governance session, information session on what our roles are, and it was done by yet a different group than I've heard before, so it was nice to hear a different perspective of how it was done, and he was very good. It was Ron Woodward, and he was very, very good. So basically, we have lots going on, and CAPE is on the cusp of doing some pretty big, cool things as projects that we will see some good results from. Unfortunately, I'm sure some people are impatient because last year was all about the background work. This year will be about the execution, I think, so you'll see more from me quite a bit this coming year. But in addition to that, I need to report to you that an outcome of the meeting of that day was that we have decided to go with a different executive director. Right now, we are in the process of looking to fill that position. And for the meantime, we have a contracted worker that's doing the minimum that needs to keep us going properly, but there isn't an actual designated staff, as all other staff were let go prior to that. So we will be in a bit of a lull for a couple of months, other than the minimum things to keep going. So far, it looks like all projects and all announcements are still a go until we hear otherwise, and I'll keep you posted as we develop.
Are there any questions from council for Councillor McGee? Probably dealing with Kate. Let's centralize it a little.
My favorite color is purple.
If not, would someone like to make a motion to receive for information as presented? Councillor Penner.
So moved.
All righty, we have a motion to receive council and committee reports for information as presented. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. We are down to council follow-up action list. It's getting shorter.
We're trying.
Questions, concerns? Councillor Cunningham.
More just a comment and a reminder for people that the Eastwater engagement session will be held on Wednesday, March 8th from 5 to 7 p.m. in the AQUA room in Three Hills.
Okay, anything else from council action lists? Yes, Councillor Forbes.
The one that Deputy Reeve King brought forth for the AUMA energy audit. Any updates?
Yes, through the chair, we're currently almost finished with our RFD with regards to that, and it should be coming to council at its next session.
Anything else from the council follow-up action list? Councillor Cunningham.
I move that council receive for information the council follow-up action list as presented.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion to receive for information as presented, the council follow-up action list. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. How long is our closed session portion?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think a recommendation here would be if council wants to break for lunch,
Okay,
that we could come back and there's follow-up budget questions, and then after that, we could go into closed session.
okay. I just thought I'd ask because I know we're not going to bring off the table the operating and capital budget discussions. So we will recess and come back, I don't know, I guess whenever we come back. Lunch is not here yet, has it? No? Okay, so we'll try for 1:14. I shall wait. We are? Okay. Bring the meeting back to order. Our next agenda item will be 11.0, closed session. We have two items in closed session, both dealing with advice from officials under section 2.4 of FOIP. Would someone like to bring us into closed session? Yes.
I will
Counselor
take us into
Forbes.
closed session.
Okay, motion's been made to go into closed session. All those in favor? Carried unanimously.